Cheevo, guys!
What up, guys? This is Cheevo Guides back here again with another video. Last week I uploaded a video called Top 10 Games You Should Buy Before the Xbox 360 Store Closes. It appears you guys really liked that video, so I'm gonna go ahead and do part 2 and maybe even part 3. Now, just a little refresher. Xbox had announced that they're going to be closing the Xbox 360 digital store on July 29th, 2024. This is unfortunate because a lot of the digital only titles that are exclusive to that marketplace, as well as a ton of DLC, will be delisted forever, meaning nobody has access to buy it anymore. This does not mean that all of the servers for all of these games are going down, just the Xbox 360 store. To clarify, you will still have access to any previous purchases, including any digital games or DLC. So if you purchase them, you should always be able to download them in the future. I should also clarify, anything that's backwards compatible will still be up for sale on the modern Xbox store. So, the 10 games that I'm going to list in this video are Xbox Live Arcade games that are only available on the Xbox 360. They never became backwards compatible. Also, the 10 games I'm going to mention do not have physical copies. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys watch part 1 and keep an eye out for part 3. For now, I'm going to give you guys 10 more games that I recommend buying before the Xbox 360 store closes. Number 10. NCAA Basketball 2009 March Madness Edition is one that I was really surprised to still see listed digitally, because these days, once a sports game is out for 3 or 4 years, it gets delisted digitally, and the only way to get it is a physical copy. Now, I should point out this is not the same thing as the disc version. This version was an Xbox Live Arcade game, it's $14.99, and in this version, you only can play as the 64 teams who made the NCAA tournament. It's basically a way for people to play through March Madness for themselves and take the crown with their favorite school. Well, at least if they made the top 64. For you achievement hunters out there, this actually has a fairly easy achievement list compared to other Xbox Live Arcade games. You can get the full 200G in less than 2 hours. There aren't many EA Sports games still listed digitally, especially college games. Number 9. Hell Yeah, Wrath of the Dead Rabbit, or simply Hell Yeah, is a platform game published by Sega. At the time, it released on PC, PS3 through PlayStation Network, Xbox 360 via Xbox Live Arcade, and then finally an iOS version was released via the App Store called Hell Yeah Pocket Inferno. So this is another game that never got a physical release. This is a really awesome indie game. It's a side-scrolling platformer that uses twin-stick shooter controls, and it actually has a pretty good reception on Steam. It currently holds a 9 out of 10. For achievement hunters, I should mention this one is actually worth 400G, which is twice as much as most Xbox Live Arcade games, which are traditionally only worth 200 gamer score. Just keep in mind it's going to take about 8 to 10 hours to complete. Number 8. Frogger Hyper Arcade Edition is the only Frogger game that's going to be getting delisted because of the shutdown. Frogger 1 and 2 are available via backward compatibility. Hyper Arcade Edition is the only one that didn't end up becoming backwards compatible. This one offers 200 gamer score and you can get the full completion in about 4 to 5 hours. And this one has plenty of different modes or styles. If you're a Frogger fan, I highly recommend it. It is a little pricier than the other 2 Frogger games, as this one is $9.99. The game even has levels that share themes from other Konami games, like there's a Castlevania level or even a Contra level. I should also mention you can play with up to 4 players locally. Number 7. Hunter's Trophy 2, America and Australia. These are 2 hunting games that got digital only releases, and that were actually quite late releases on the Xbox 360, as they released in 2013, the same year that the Xbox One came out. Now there's actually 3 Hunter's Trophy 2 games. There's the America and Australia version, which are the 2 versions I'm talking about, and then there's the Europe version. The Europe version got a physical release, however it was exclusive to the PAL region. That one actually has a full 1000 gamer score as it was a full retail release. I'm not talking about that one. Hunter's Trophy 2 America and Hunter's Trophy 2 Australia are the ones that you want to purchase before they're gone forever. They're each $9.99, each one offering its own 400 gamer score. And I'd say they're totally worth it if you like hunting games. Number 6. Next, we have the 2 Yu-Gi-Oh titles that released on the Xbox Live Arcade. Again, these never got physical copies. Each of these is going to run you $9.99. The first one being Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's Decade Duels Plus. This game features over 2,000 playable cards, including cards featured in Yu-Gi-Oh!, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. The game even had online multiplayer featuring up to 4-player tag duel battles. The next Yu-Gi-Oh! Title we have is Yu-Gi-Oh! Millennium Duels, and this one was also published by Konami, only released digitally for Xbox 360 and PS3. This one featured over 20 Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters and over 6,000 cards. In terms of achievements, these are really hard to get the full completion on. But if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan, I highly recommend getting these games before they're gone forever. Number 5. Dust: An Elysian Tale is an action role-playing game originally released as an Xbox 360 exclusive for the Xbox Live Arcade. Eventually, it was ported to other platforms like PC, Mac, PlayStation 4, and even the Nintendo Switch in 2018. However, the Xbox 360 version was digital only, and once the store is down, it will be gone forever. This game had some really solid reviews. At the time, IGN had reviewed it at 8.5 out of 10, and official Xbox Magazine had reviewed it a 9.5 out of 10. This game has an amazing art style and story. In the game, you play as Dust and Fidget. The game's an action-adventure game with Metroidvania-style exploration. This game actually holds a 10 out of 10 on Steam. I have no idea why this never ended up becoming backward compatible. If you're interested in picking this one up, it is $14.99. Number 4. Burnout Crash is another game that I was really surprised to still see listed. This game's actually developed by Criterion Games, and it released purely as a digital title for the Xbox 360, PS3, and iPhone. In this game, you drive into an intersection in an attempt to cause the biggest pileup as possible. Unlike previous Burnout games, this one's played from a bird's eye view. You earn points by causing damage and destroying the environment and other vehicles. The game actually features 3 modes and 6 different intersections to play. Sadly, Burnout Crash was the last title in the Burnout series before most of Criterion's staff transitioned over to working on Need for Speed. So if you love Burnout, I highly recommend getting this game before it's gone forever. Number 3. Bionic Commando Rearmed is an enhanced remake of the 1988 NES version of Bionic Commando. It's published by Capcom and it released purely as a digital title for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation Network on PS3. There was actually a BlackBerry version, but we're not going to talk about that one. This game eventually got a sequel called Bionic Commando Rearmed 2. Lucky for us, the sequel is backwards compatible. However, the first one, Bionic Commando Rearmed, for some reason never made the backward compatibility list. The game actually got great reception at the time. It was praised for its updated gameplay, graphics, and faithfulness to the original. If you're interested in picking up this remake, it's $9.99. Number 2. Gotham City Imposters is a multiplayer-only first-person shooter set in the Batman universe. This game was actually developed by Monolith. They went on to develop the Condemned franchise, the Fear franchise, and the Lord of the Rings Middle-earth games. Now, the Xbox 360 version is the only version that's still available and playable, as the PS3 version was shut down on July 25th, 2014, and the game was removed from Steam on August 21st. Now, I think if you own the version on Steam, you can still play it, but the only way to still buy it is definitely on the Xbox 360. Now, this is a game you have have to experience at least once. Now, in this game, you can play with up to 12 players. Just keep in mind you need at least 6 players to play a match. Now, unfortunately, there's not a ton of people actively playing this game, so if you do purchase it, try to convince some friends to purchase it as well, so that you can get some matches in. Otherwise, you may buy it and not be able to find a match. But if you have some friends that are willing to play this with you, I highly recommend it. Again, the Xbox version is the only version still available for purchasing, and it's $14.99. Number 1. Fez is an indie puzzle platforming game that released exclusively on the Xbox Live Arcade in 2012. In the game, you play as a character named Gomez that receives a fez or hat that reveals his two-dimensional world to be one of 4 sides of a 3-dimensional world. As you play the game, you rotate between these 4 2D views to realign the platforms and solve all the puzzles. Now, eventually this game did release on other platforms. Most recently, it got re-released on the Switch in 2021. However, the Xbox 360 version never got a physical release, and surprisingly, it never became backward compatible. This is a game that got great reception at the time. IGN had reviewed it a 9.5 out of 10. Eurogamer had given it a 10 out of 10, and on Steam it currently has a 9 out of 10. Now, if you're interested in picking this one up, it's a $9.99 that is well worth it. And that's going to cover 10 more games that I recommend purchasing before the Xbox 360 store closes on July 29th, 2024. Again, all 10 games on this list never got physical releases, and they never became backward compatible. I do have a few more recommendations, so make sure you guys stay tuned in with the channel for part 3. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. As always, I'd like to give a huge thank you to all of my Patreon subscribers. We just hit 12 patrons. I'd like to give a special shout out to everybody in the biggest fan club, including TimG84, Kegger101, Kana25, Rockmono44, and HinderGod35. As always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment, and don't forget to like and subscribe.